Hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. Kim Victoria here. Thank you for those who have come back and welcome those who are new. What is all this? Well, it's ABC April 2025, and I am doing a Y for yard sale finds. It's not on the list, but it's yard sale finds. Why not? Yes? So, this is a yard sale find, and there's a lot here. I think there must have been near 100 pieces. These are vintage, so I could have done it on a V-Day, but these are vintage photo folders. And I know they are vintage. I mean, when I bought them at the yard sale, they'd obviously been in that box a very long time. I have no idea what the history of why they were there, but this is the exact same folders that my graduation photographs came in 1972. So they're around 50 years old, and they've been in a box in somebody's attic or garage or loft or something like that. So this gal was, she and her husband clean out homes that nobody is cleaning out so they can get resold. And this was among that stuff. I got a few other things too that were old. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take some of these? Now, I did make another video for these where I use the word vintage photo albums, but I wanted to do something different. And I wanted to offer a bunch of these in my Etsy shop. So they're in my Etsy shop as bundles. I put them together as bundles of 6, bundles of 12, and there's some of these big ones, not very many of those, but lots of these little guys. We can collage over them, we can Mod Podge them, we can stamp them, we can do all kinds of things. We can add acetate to these open windows and things like that. So yes, we can do a lot of fun things, and we can sew in some journal pages and make it into little notebooks and things like that. So these can be very useful. And when I was helping the kids down the street when they were doing some artwork, these would make great frames for artwork, for kids' artwork. It could be a rotating kind of thing. It could be, I mean, you could use them what they were originally intended. Anyway, so I'm going to have a little play with these, and the link to the Etsy shop is in the description box. But there's a lot of them here, and I wanted to share the wealth. So I hope you could find something useful. I'm sure some ideas are rolling around. One of the things I found out with these is that you could, um, you definitely can take these frames out. So I've got a couple that are a little soiled that I can use as models. And I've got a little letter opener here. And so if you're really easy on it, you can kind of nudge them out. And by doing that, so yeah, I get a little bit of the tear out and everything. So there's a little bit of that tear out there. But by doing that, that's where we can cover this. We can cover it with napkins, tissue paper, collage, whatever on it. And that way we're sealing it on the inside. These are actually quite lovely as far as their structure is concerned. They've got an excellent folding spine. Their hinge, actually, it's not a spine, but it's a little hinge. They are quite excellent that way. And so we can still use the frame. We can wrap around the frame. We can put acetate in the frame. We can put the frame back on. We can leave it hinged, or we can hinge it from the bottom so things don't fall out. So I'm rolling around with ideas, and I've made some things with it. I made like some specimen slides with a couple of these. And so, yeah, let me go ahead and make a few things and share some of my ideas. And I'm sure you're starting to percolate with your own ideas. So vintage photo frames, from a yard sale. And I have a few other things from yard sales. So I thought that if possible, I would do something with one of these that's pretty much stuff from a yard sale. So that would be kind of different. It's just things I have found at yard sales. Okay, I've got the photo folders from a yard sale. I found a package of unopened brand new napkins at a yard sale. I found some pretty cards and envelopes. There's, like, I don't know, half of them left at a yard sale. Nice box, too. I'm going to be able to use that. Found those at a yard sale. Got a theme going. Couple of odds and ends at a yard sale. And a bunch of Birds and Blooms magazines at a yard sale. And I have acetate from a yard sale. And I also, oh God, I've got a little bit of tissue paper. I'm going to wrap these. I need to get the acetate. And then I'm just going to do this process and film it and speed it up. So, because you know what I'm doing. I'm going to use the PVA glue, watered down a little bit, and I'll probably use a little ink. So, yeah, let's go for it here, right? So while I'm waiting for glue to dry, I want to decide what else I'm going to do with my little folder. So I went ahead and cut out two pieces of acetate. And I have another one of these, so I went ahead and took it apart and went, okay, what am I going to do here? So I decided to put acetate on this side and then glue it back down again and make it into a pocket. So if I'm going to make it a pocket, I went ahead and I just made a simple tag to slip in there. That'll be really cute. So it'll be like that. And then that little bit of sun will be sticking out as a tab, and I can write something on the back. And this was one of those die cuts. I just cut it in half, and I inked the back side so it wouldn't be stark white. Piece of tea-dyed paper glued, having this photo glued to that. So I've got a tag for here. And what I thought would be fun over here would be the acetate on there. And I thought it would be fun to make this a flip out. Okay? And if it's a flip out and there's a hinge right here, I need something for in there. So I cut another piece of tea-dyed paper. So that will cover up the hinge on this side, and a couple more of the photos from those Birds and Blooms magazines found at a yard sale. The acetate was found at a yard sale. So I'm really trying to put everything in things that I found at yard sales. So that would be on the inside, and I could just have that be another pocket, and that would be pretty. It would be on the inside. Of course, it kind of cuts off the butterfly, but I thought it might be fun to have something a little different here. And on the flap, I do have these pretty sunflower cards, and I'm doing sunflower, yellow flower kind of things. And I want to write a note. I have in mind to send this to a friend of mine who loves gardening, but hasn't been able to for a while. And so I thought this would be a really nice thing to send to her. So I was thinking of attaching this to the inside and having this where I put a note to my friend. But then I'm now thinking that, okay, if I glue on the acetate and then I try to glue that on top, there's going to be a little acetate sticking out because this is a little smaller. So maybe I can just glue this directly to that window. I think that'll work better. Glue this directly to that window, and then this will this will flap open, and that will open. Okay, I think I'm going to do that instead. So it's like there's just a little extra beauty in this. It's kind of a big card is what it is, which I like that idea. I like that idea. So let's see if things have dried. I dried things with a hair dryer, and they've been under some weight flattening out. Let's see how those are doing. All right, I think I have all my parts and pieces. I have these ready to go, so I'll pick the best one. Actually, they're pretty darn similar, so whichever one is going to look best with this card attached to it. So there's that one, and there's that one. I think this one looks better. And ooh, I'm going to ink the back side. I inked all the way around the front side, so now I want to ink around the back side on that one. That's good. Okay. And here is our folder. It's got its napkin glued on. It's nice and firm. And then there's the tea-dyed paper on the inside. And I inked that paper. And I think I'm going to go ahead and ink around the outside of this. Okay. So that's ready to go. And so if I'm going to make that a pocket, okay, I got to do the acetate. Where did I put that? All right. So acetate first. And I have the barely precision glue. Go ahead and put that away from the edge, like Margreth likes to say. When you smoosh down the acetate, we don't want it smooshing out to the front. We don't want to get glue on the front of that visible part of that acetate. Okay. And very careful because I don't want to goop it up. I have to get the light just right so I see where it is. Ah, okay. Yeah, definitely smooshing out. Oh, yes. Go the other way. That's it. Okay. Now, because this is a pocket, things could catch on the top edge of that acetate. So I'm going to take one little extra precaution here. I'm going to use a little piece of this artist tape. And put that over the top of the acetate. There we go. All right, I think that's a good extra precaution. And now when something slides in, it will slide right over and it won't get caught on the top of that acetate. We don't have to worry about the sides. All right, where are we here? Okay, there we go. All right. Now, the important thing here, now I can always trim this tag down. So I thought of that when I was making it. I can always trim it down if it's just a tad too too wide. But I am going to, I wonder if I should put something back there. Ooh, I hadn't thought of that. Hmm. No, I think I'll leave it. I think I'll just leave it. Um, oh, I could put a rubber stamp or a sticker back there. Oh, let me do that. Let me do that. Okay, okay, I looked around. Uh, got a couple of butterfly stickers here, and I have some stamps, and I want to just make kind of a little stamped collage thingy here. Let's just, I've done this before. There we go. So I'm kind of going in with the orange. I got the orange going, and then I flip it over and go into the green. And it's okay if the orange and the green overlap, because when I'm done, it's going to, ah, I am being awkward here. Goodness. Paper, paper. Not that it's going to get seen, but it might. Well, that looks nice. That looks nice. Let's see. I can add just a couple more things. And then if I put a couple of butterflies in and put that window over it. Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm happy with that. Okay. Uh, it's just the creative process, right? Ooh, I like it. Okay, so now we'll just put these butterflies in there. Cool, cool. So those are nice and flat, so they don't interfere with anything sliding in and out of the pocket. Oh yeah, that works. That works. Okay, so now just a nice healthy bead of glue right on the edge. And then I noticed that I have a little boo-boo down here. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Where'd I put it? My messy desk. I have another one of these. Cover up some of those flowers, but I could put that on there. Actually, that would work because when this is in there, that just covers up part of that post. I could put it right to the edge. Rotate it around, find the best angle. Well, I like it, so I think I'm going to do that. So I want to put, get an idea here. I'm going to go there and there. So I'm going to cover up with my fingers what I don't want glue on, okay? Okay, I'll let that dry a little bit more before I test it. So now I want to go ahead and put this on there. And instead of putting the glue on that and on here, I'm just going to put the glue right on the edge of the window. Make sure I'm thinking about this correctly. Yes, and that's right side up, yes. And line everything up. Make sure it's straight. And now I need to hinge it. And I think I'll have it, let's see, I have to have it, yeah, it still has to clear the center. So I have to hinge it right by the edge. Right in there. So what I want to use, The make my own washi tape method. You'll have to check out my washi tape video. Okay, so I'm going to go really, really simple with this. I'm just going to ink it. I'm not going to worry about decorating because there's going to be enough decorating. But I want it to have some color. Okay, so we will start here. I know I'm probably off camera, but you can actually see through. You can actually, when you're taping it down, you can see through this tape just enough to position it nicely. There we go. There. So there's my hinge tape. I think I'm going to go ahead and fold that back so I can position it on the page well. Woo! Kind of give it a bend the frame just a tad and make sure. Whoop. Okay. Ta-da. Okay. All right. Really want to burnish that hinge down and use the bone folder. Okay. Now that that's there, I could have done the hinge and, oh, right. I'm being silly because I didn't need to make another piece because that was already there. And I could have put the hinge on and then put that piece in first. Okay, well, it's, so in that case, I think I'll put there's the little bird. I'll let the bird cover up part of that hinge. That works. And for this, I'll just use a little glue stick. You really have to cover all of the slick papers. Otherwise, you wind up with little bubbles. You can actually see where there was no glue. So I really try to get the glue thoroughly on all of the paper. All right, let's do the butterfly. Got all the nice colors working together. All right, that out of the way. That out of the way. Don't need that. Okay, I think we're just about there. Well, let's see if this fits. It does. Let's get the meadowlark down, seated in. Hey, pretty cool, huh? And that flaps in, and that flaps over. And all I need is a big envelope to put this in. I'm going to write a note in there. And I think before I do anything else, I will put this under some heavy weight. Okay. What do you think? Let me cover this up. Got to take care of the glue. Okay. Let's see what we've got. So I started out. There it is. Started out with this 1970, which is a good approximation of how old it is, photo folders for high school pictures. And they have kind of a soft surface. It's not a velour, but it's almost like the paper's been brushed. It's very thick cardstock. It's good quality for its time. And it must have been pretty good quality because these haven't they as far as I know that and I remember, they came with this kind of off-white ivory sort of color, and they don't have a lot of foxing. Foxing is the terminology for pulp paper. The any books that are made with pulp paper from wood pulp, there's a lot of acid in it, and so the pages turn yellow, and that's why you see old newspapers 100% wood pulp, and it just turns yellow and it gets brittle. Well, these haven't turned yellow, and they don't have foxing spots. And foxing spots on book pages is, well, that's what we do when we antique our pages or we grunge them and stuff like that, and we put all those little spots. That's called foxing. So these don't have any foxing. So they're good quality material. I don't know what they are. They might be cotton. They were still making a lot of this sort of thing with cotton 50 years ago. So they might be cotton. And that would be nice because that's archival. So a little bit of any discoloration on the edges would have been sunlight hitting the box in the attic or wherever they were, but they really are in good shape. Hmm, interesting. So we started out with this. I have these for sale in my Etsy shop with bundles of 6 and 12 and 12 little ones and 6 of the big ones. I don't have very many of the big ones. So I took out the inside, the frames, and wrapped it with a napkin and wrapped the frames with some tissue paper. And they could be wrapped with lightweight scrapbook paper or, any lightweight pretty paper or paper you've rubber stamped. We could have done all kinds of stuff like we could have grunged this up with, put a lot of rubber stamps on it and really, really did it up. So I probably am going to do one of those. But this one I had this theme in mind with the flowers and the birds and yard sale. So that was the theme of this one was yard sale finds. And except for the glue, this was yard sale finds. All of it. So I hope that was inspiring. And that is an interesting challenge, isn't it? Just any things that you found at a yard sale. Okay, you're going to make something with just the stuff you found at yard sales. So anyway, I thought it would be kind of a neat thing to try. And it came out really cool. It's a really neat little folio. So I just have to put it under a little weight for a couple of days. Gee, I hope that was inspiring for you and you had fun with me and watching my little silent movie there. Um, anyway, so we're at Y today. Tomorrow is Z. Last day. I think I gotta get in on tomorrow, so I better get busy. Okay. Um, this has been a great event. So I hope you've been having fun meeting new people. And as I have, I've met some wonderful new creators through this ABC April thing. So I will let you go. Thank you so much for watching. And let's see what I come up with for Z. Bye for now.